to add me as a friend to get over to the world, it's a good time to do that now as well. Alright, I am going to head to ground zero real quick. And just quickly announce Alright, so hi everybody that's here. I am Crow's Mold, you can call me Mold. I have made 10 World and Club Kiwi if you've seen either of those worlds. You can ask questions in the YouTube chat or you can ask them in Worlds and I will answer them in either of those places. This class will be in English, so if you have any questions in Spanish, I will try my best, but I probably will not be able to answer them very well. Um, so first of all, I have created this test world just to show you a little bit of how these uh, portals work, what they are for, and what they do. So first of all, basically what a portal is it connects rooms or it connects worlds. So a separate room is actually a place within the same world, and when somebody crosses through a portal, you will actually see them appear on the other side. And it looks kind of jittery because they're actually going from one world to another. So if you have Shaper enabled currently, and you go to edit properties on this wall, you will see that this portal is in room 1, and I have this naming convention that I use where I do the room you are currently in, the portal and the direction it's facing, and then the room it goes to. This is just a personal naming convention because I get confused very easily, and also because all walls and portals in a world have to be have to have unique names. You cannot have just one portal in each room called North Portal. You need to have them individually named something different. So this also helps me keep all of the portal names unique. Now in the properties of this portal, you have the name of the portal, so it's room 1 North Portal, room 2. You have the destination room name, which is room 2. Connect to a portal, which is already a set to true automatically, is true. And then you have the destination portal name, room 2, South Portal, room 1. Now, because of my naming convention, I know that this is a portal in room 2, and that it's a south portal because I named it as such, and that the south portal leads to room 1. Now, this is a personal naming convention. You can name your portals whatever you want as long as you know what they're named and how to get there. And then another thing we have here is the destination world URL. Null means this world, and so it's null because it's in the same world. Now, if we head over to room 2 over here, now we are in room 2, and it does not like me turning today, so you're going to hear me, when I turn left and right, you're going to hear me press the keyboard a lot. Now, this portal is supposed to lead to ground 0, and it's not right now. Let's see. I'm going to debug why that is. Oh, now it's doing it. So I don't know if you are able to see it currently. I had to refresh this portal to get it to actually show ground 0. But this is an example of a portal that leads to another world. So basically, in order to do something like this, you should be using an already existing portal that exists in ground 0. And this is an example of, for example, a Spy GZ, where you're able to see everybody in ground 0. You're not able to hear what anybody's saying, but you're able to see everybody moving around in there. So how you do this is you have to actually go to ground 0, find a portal you can hook up to, and then you have to put that portal name into the destination portal names. This is West Portal 1 Reception, which is actually the portal you see that is the stairs that go down to the auditorium. It's actually the portal that you see when you're going up the stairs from the auditorium looking into ground 0. And normally, a portal like this, you would be able to walk through it, and it's actually a one-sided portal. You would walk through it and you would not see the room you came from. And so portals can be one-sided. You can go through a portal, and if it doesn't have a portal leading back, you can't go back to where you came. So to prevent people from, in this tutorial just going straight through and then not being able to come back without teleporting to me, I actually added a portal blocker to it. And this gives the effect of it being like a window, for example. So this portal blocker is just a another wall, and it is set to not being visible. And that way you can't head through it. Now, if you had bumpable off on your avatar, for example, you would just walk through this entire wall and still be in the room. You would not walk into ground zero. This is how the cults traverse worlds. Wow. So that's just an overview of a portal that looks into another world. You can have, you can have it just go straight to and from another world if you were to go into that world and edit and add a portal in there that leads to this world. Another thing I should add is if you are working on a default room like this and you put a portal somewhere, you would actually have to leave space behind the portal in order to walk through it, which is actually why you don't put a portal just up against a wall like this. What you would actually use is you would use an object like a east wall dash portal in a default room like this. And that way you would have basically what it does when you add a wall slash portal is, if I show this one over here, which we'll be using as an example for you to try yourself. So this right here, if you go to edit properties, you see that there are two walls and then there's a portal in the middle. Default portal is 250 units wide and the default wall is 1,000 units wide. So if you imagine that, that would mean that in the middle here at 500 units, you would have to cut off 125 units from these walls in order to make it fit this portal. So if you go to edit properties, you can see that this portal, it goes from 0 to 375, and then this wall goes from 625 to 1,000. Now this is to leave room for this portal in the middle. Now instead of having to manually create two walls and then have to put a portal in the middle of them, you just drag a east wall into this room. And it's actually really important to keep aware of what cardinal direction you're facing when you're in worlds. So since this is the east wall, this pink wall over here is north, and then this is east, and this is south, and this is west. And I like to have these labeled. When you create a default room, it'll often just name them rectangle because something's already named north, east, south, west. What I'll usually do is if I'm in another room, I will just name it something like room 2 east wall, like I did here. I didn't do it for all these walls though. There's south wall and west wall over here. So in this example, we have a portal that's not hooked up to anything here. And so what we're going to do next is if everybody has Shaper open and ready, we are actually going to add another room. Now how we do this is first make sure to hit edit properties to make sure that you have this room selected. Often you'll be still showing ground 0, so you should see at the very top here, you should see world 1. Also by default, you'll have the actions window up on the top, and I like to switch it down here since there's not a lot of objects you can choose from, just to give a little more space to see this hierarchy window. So under world 1, we have these different rooms. What we can do is just go to default room and drag the room into this room's window, and you will get a room 3. Now once you have this room 3 created, go to Worlds Mark, go to change location, and then in your location you're going to want to search for where it says room 2. And you're going to want to just type 3 in there and enter room 3. And I will wait until everybody else is in here. Now, since in room 2, that was a, I believe, east-facing wall that we're hooking up to room 3, we are going to be creating a west-facing wall that leads back into room 2. That's what we're doing next, but I'm waiting for people to join me in here. So just as an overview, you're going to need to be in the world. You're going to need to go to rooms. You're going to need to click on default room, drag it into rooms, and then room 3 will be created. Then go to worlds mark, change location, change this to room 3. I'm going to go back to room 2 just to make sure everybody knows what's going on. Zero blank zero, what is going on with your shaper? I might be able to help you. Lobby crashed twice, that's okay, we're waiting, we're letting people catch up. I will head back over to room 3 now. But zero blank zero, feel free to whisper me, tell me what's going on. I will try and help you if I can. So we are going to, Casa and I made it to room 3. Great, I am headed right over there. I'm just making sure that everybody makes it over. VIP only room, huh? If it is set as such, it will be VIP only. So what you need to do is go to File. Oh wait, I have to go to File, Worlds, Properties, and make sure that I'm not seeing that the world is VIP only. So VIP only is false for me when I created the default room. If VIP only is true, it will do that. But it should not do that by default. So I'm not sure what's going on there. If you're on 1890, it doesn't do that by default. So for the people that are already over there, we're going to want to... Okay, I messed around with ShaperWorks, so the format looks weird. I tried to drag the dot things, and it drags the gray window completely, if that makes sense. So drag the dot things, and it drags the gray window completely. There's a lot of gray windows. Drags gray window completely. Okay, yeah, you don't drag the dot things, you just click the dot things once, and it switches the position. If you go to this, one in the middle here, this one changes the size of those windows. But these dots in the middle, they're actually little arrows, but it's very hard to see. If you click those, all it does is just switch the windows around. All right. So now to create our east wall. I'm not sure which wall is east because they're not labeled in here. So we're just going to have to add one in. If you go to edit properties, it'll automatically take you to environment contents. You're going to want to make sure that everything you create goes directly into this environment contents directory. Hey, Antoine, I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry. You're a little late. You can catch up if you go earlier in the video, and I will do my best to explain things as simply as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it in YouTube chat, and I will answer it. So we know we need to create a west wall since the other one's an east wall to connect them together. So I'm going to go to Objects, and I am going to drag this west wall in here to see where our west wall is because I'm not sure. And what will happen is it will actually snap it in place where you need it to be for these default rooms automatically. So it shows this W object 1. That's just the default name for groupers for some reason. And we're like, where is that west wall? We don't know. So we're going to go into the contents and just click some of these things and see where it put them. It'll put like a red dot in the world somewhere. I don't see that red dot. I'm not seeing it anywhere. So let's see. How are we going to figure out where west is? Okay, this is west. I can tell because there's the red dot. I couldn't see it because it was red on red. But I hit edit properties and I actually hit one of these walls. So what we're going to need to do is now that we've added a west wall, we actually need to delete the wall that was underneath it. Ideally, we would delete the west wall first before doing this. But because I didn't know where west was, we just kind of had to guess and drag that wall in first to see where it is. So we have this Rex 24 on my end. That's actually the west wall that we need to delete. So to delete something, select it. Either hit the delete key with it selected. Just kidding. That doesn't work. Hit the cut button over here. And it'll delete that. And so now we only have this W object 1 on the west wall. What I'll do is I'm just going to rename this west wall. West wall is already in use in World 1. Okay. This is room 3 west wall. So I'm going to go over that again. What you're going to need to do is delete the west wall if you know where it is. If you don't know where it is, just drag this west wall / portal object from the objects, from the actions, the objects area into environment, contents, drag it into there, and you get an object called W object 1. Make sure that the old west wall is deleted. Rename this to room 3 west wall. And then go into the contents of that west wall. Now this room 3 west wall has contents because it's actually a grouper object. A grouper object is an object that can have other objects inside of it. So just quick overview of groupers. Put a grouper in here. A grouper by default is nothing. It doesn't really exist. It doesn't have anything inside of it. It exists over here. It has a point where it's at, but other than that, it doesn't really exist. Everything that you put inside of a grouper, you can move around together. So it's kind of like a folder that you can put other objects inside of. So for example, if I delete Rex 21, paste it inside of the contents of the grouper, it is now inside that grouper, and I can now move the grouper around, and it moves that floor as well. So I'm just gonna cut. You know Jimbly? Yes, Jimbly is online right now. In fact, so I'm just gonna paste that back into contents here, paste, and delete that grouper because we don't need it. So I'm just waiting making sure everybody has their west walls ready. Gonna just quickly check in chat so that everybody can answer. Is Jimbly old? Yes, he is. But I am teaching a worlds building class right now, so I'm not really here to answer questions about Jimbly at this moment. You can ask him questions yourself if you would like. Okay, everybody's west wall / portal is ready. Awesome. So, well, at least Dr. Fraser Crane's ready. So we go into contents, and we have these two rectangles that are these two walls over here that are not passable. And then we have this west-facing portal. I'm going to rename this west-facing portal to match my naming structure. So this is going to be room 3, west portal, or west portal, and it connects to room 2. So this is going to be connecting to room 2's east portal that goes to room 3. So destination world URL will be null. Destination room name will be room 2. And the destination portal name will be room 2 west portal, east portal, because east connects to west. East portal, room 3. And now they are connected. In one direction. They are connected in one direction, but not the other. I got lost when you created a new room. Too late? Not too late at all. So, let's start back at creating a new room. So you go to where it says default room over here, drag and drop it into the rooms and the properties. So now we've created room 4, which we don't want, we just want room 3. So I'm just going to delete room 4 real quick. We're going to be connecting room 2 to room 3 in a moment here. But for now, I'm just going back over the steps. So while you're in room 2, this portal doesn't connect to room 3 yet. So what you're going to need to do is go to room 3 first by going to Worlds Mark, change location, kind of use your arrow keys to get to the proper place in the URL, and then change 2 to 3. And that brings you to room 3. So Lavi, when you do that, just I'm going to wait until Lavi gets into this room, and then I'm going to recap how to create the wall. Feel free to whisper me too, Lavi. I have my whispers on. Alright, great. You're in room 3. So next, what you're going to do is you are going to delete, here, for this example, I'm just going to delete room 3 west wall, which is what you're going to want to do. It's going to be called rect24 on your end, but you can edit properties to grab that red room and tell whatever it's called. So for this example, I'm going to delete room 3 west wall. And it's going to be just this white space. You can see the horizon, which is white, and you can see the sky, which is black. Okay. So when you have that wall deleted, just let me know. Just know everything you whisper me right now is probably going to pop up in the stream. Alright. So, once that west wall is deleted, you are going to grab this west wall slash portal object and drag it into room 3. Make sure you're in room 3. Environment, contents. Just drag it directly into contents and it will create this grouper object called WObject1, which for ease of use, we want to just rename room 3 west wall. After you do that, edit properties so that you're selecting this portal, which is currently called west facing. Rename that portal to room 3, because that's the room we're in. West portal, because that's where the portal is facing. Room 2. Destination room name is room 2. And destination portal name is room 2 portal east room 3. Room 2 portal east room 3 does not exist because it's east portal, not portal east. If you're ever not sure what a portal is called, you can access room 2 in the hierarchy and just go, oh, what's that thing called? Okay, it's on the environment contact, and then it's the east wall. Go in there. Oh, the portal is named room 2 east portal room 3, if you ever forget what it's named. So back in this room, you've noticed that even though our portal is connected in one direction, it's not connected in the other. So we need to fix this. So what we're going to do, right click, edit properties on this portal right here. You're going to change the destination room name to room 3, which is the room you created. You're going to change the destination portal name to room 3 west portal room 2, where room 3 is the room that it's in, west portal is the direction, the portal in the direction it's facing, and room 2 is the room it leads to. Now if you named it something different for some reason, just put the name of the portal. You know, it might be named something like west space portal. Now it looks like I made a typo. I'm going to check, just see exactly what I named it in room 3. So I'm just going to go back to environment, contents. Check what I named that portal in the room 3 west wall grouper. It is room 3 west portal room 2. What did I type? Did I type portal west or something? Let's see. What did I name this? West portal, room 3 west portal, room 2. Now, this actually happens sometimes. This will actually occur where it is certain that there's a typo or that something's not spelled wrong, and I'm like, I know I typed that right. I know that's right. It seems to be something that happens in 1890 a lot, where it's just like, you know, it does not recognize that the room exists or that the portal exists or anything. Even though you've double-checked it, you have to make sure that you double-check your spelling multiple times, because it has, you know, every space, everything you put in here needs to be exact. You know, it's case sensitive, all that. This happens. It's just one of those weird things about Worlds. It's not a precise program. It's not really. Now, originally, when you press File Save, it's going to just call it World 1, which is the default world name. What I actually do is I create a folder, and then I just put I will actually just save every incrementally. So I have Portal Tutorial 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. and then this one will be 0.6 because I need to reset worlds and go back into this room for this portal to work. This doesn't always happen. It's just something that happens every so often, and I have no idea why that is. So we're just going to really quickly quit. Look at all this crap I have open. And reopen Worlds 1890. Then file open that world we were in. Go back here. Now, even though I'm not on the networked version of this world, I'm actually on the version of this world that I have saved in my folder. But because I am in World 1, Room 2, everybody that's in their own personal World 1, Room 2, since those room names are shared and the world name is shared, will be able to see each other. This is also, for example, how things like Ground Zeroes work, where you are able to see each other even though you're in a different world. As long as the world name and the room name are the same, you will be able to see each other no matter if you are on a version that you opened from your personal computer or if you're in a version that is uploaded as a worlds mark. So after I restarted, you can see this works now. This portal's fine. It was complaining that the names were not the same, but they're fine. They're completely fine. Now another weird oddity is this portal here that's supposed to lead to Ground Zero. Sometimes this will happen. You'll have a portal, and it's just like, I don't want to work. But then I go to the Room 2 portal reception, and I just go to this, this URL here, and I just press OK, and it just starts working. That's another weird thing that happens. I don't know why that happens. I think I might have needed to put an REL at the beginning, so relative home Ground Zero. That might be what I've needed to do to get this to work for everybody. I don't know if it's black for everyone else too, or if it's just black for me. But that's just something that has been happening personally. Yeah, I ran into the same issue. Glad to see it works from a simple save restart. Yep. In fact, you will want to pretty much after every major change, make a new save of your world. Every time you create a new room, every time you've, added a few portals or walls, you're going to want to just save incrementally a new version of that world. So you want to just put a 0.1, 0.2, whatever it takes to have multiple copies of that world, because you never know when the save's going to go wrong. It's just going to randomly be like, you know what? I'm going to corrupt to that world. Worlds is not very user-friendly in that way, and it's got some bugs. Each version of Shaper, that's a big reason why people that create worlds use 1890, is because it seems to self-destruct your user-created worlds far less and have far less bugs in general. Now, one good thing is that LRNR is actually working on a stable version that will, not self-destruct worlds like that. So sometime in the future, we should have a worlds player that is better than 1890 as far as creating worlds goes. But for now, my suggestion, look in the description of this video. Grab Worlds version 1890 or the all-in-one zip with Shaper already enabled that I put down there, and you are gonna just want to go ahead and download that. Use the shortcut in that folder to open Worlds, and it already has Shaper enabled and everything for you. And just use that to build your worlds instead of 1920. I find 1920 more user-friendly for actually using worlds, but 1890 is better for building worlds. So, If anyone has questions, now would probably be a good time for them. But I'll just go over some basic things I can think of, since those explanations of portals actually was pretty quick. Actually, I have a few more things I could probably go over here. So one thing is, when you create a new world like this and it puts you in a default room, what you're going to want to do, first of all, is if you want other people to be able to join you in that world, how do I make these portals a mirror effect, like when you go outside GZ? Or like in Auditorium. So outside GZ is actually like a texture that they put on the portal. So when you have a well, okay, so outside of GZ, I will show you real quick what it actually is. It's actually a really neat trick what they did here. So what you see here, that kind of mirror effect, part of it's a texture, and the other part is just a mirror, but it's low opacity. So East Portal Reflection is actually an object that is able to be passed through, and let's see, I'm trying to see exactly how they did this because it's cool. So you can go into the material properties. From there, there's an ambient reflection coefficient. And the ambient reflection is 0.75, which is why it's slightly see-through. Okay, so let's go back into our world and try to replicate that. So I'm going to go back into Portal World 0.6. And let's try doing this to this room 3 portal here. So edit properties. So this is room 2, East Portal, room 3. Go to material, texture. Wait, just material, not texture. And then ambient reflection coefficient. That wasn't it. I thought it was ambient reflection coefficient. So let's see. I'm going to look at something real quick. I have some notes here that might help. Let's go back to material. See, the opacity is 1, which sounds right. Smooth is false. Is it smooth? Nah. I do believe it probably is. It probably is an object before the portal. I don't think it's actually, the portal is textured itself. So I'm going to go ahead and create an east wall real quick. East wall. Drag it into contents here. So now we have an east wall. We want to just make it the exact proportions of the portal. So let's go to portal. So portal is from 03750 to 0625240. Gonna remember that and just pop it into here. 03750. Also, you'll begin to realize that you see a lot of the same numbers in Worlds Building a lot. You'll see a lot of 240 for wall height. That's kind of the default wall height. And this one is 625, 240. So you'll see that in the last spot a lot. You'll see a lot of like 0 to 240 on the z-axis for something that's a wall. And 625 was the dimensions here. Okay. So there's that. The best version for Shaper is 1890. Yes, that's correct. But you know, I find that I like 1920 better for if I'm just hanging out doing stuff on Worlds. There's some links in the video for um, where to get 1890 from. So let's try making this mirror effect, because now I'm curious and now I want to do this. So we have this east wall that is the exact dimensions of the portal. We're going to make it bumpable false. And we're just going to really quickly turn the visible to no to kind of expose the portal behind it, just to show that it's still there. We're going to turn visible back on now. But this is also how we create a wall that will go in front of a window, for example, to keep you from walking through, if you turn this bumpable to true. Now let's go into material, which is where you find all the properties for how a plane or a wall or portal, anything like that looks. We're going to change the opacity to 0.75 to make it slightly see-through. So now it's this ugly teal color, but you can still see it's the other room. So just for now, go over here so that you can still go through the portal. And then over here, show that it's still slightly opaque on this side. And then where would that mirror effect be? Let's see. It's definitely not in texture. We can change the color to be white. So it's RGB values. And you go from 0 to 255, 255 being the most. So you can think about it like 255, 255, 255 being complete white. And then, where is our mirror effect? Where is our mirror effect? Maybe it's in actions. If anyone knows where this mirror effect is, that would be super cool. But I could probably find it. But so far, at least, we have a see-through wall here. Alright, well, let's just go back to ground zero and see if we can find mirrors in the white box when you have the portal selected. Mirror is in the white box. White box when you have the portal selected. White box. White box. Mirrored. Boolean false. Mirrored. Oh. Is that it? I don't see myself. Is it because this east wall's in the way now? Let's go ahead and change the visible to false and see if that's what's causing it. Whoa. What? That is not the kind of mirrored I meant. This is mirroring the entire world. Everybody's upside down now. This is not the kind of mirrored we wanted. Oh dear. Now I have to change this one to mirrored. And now you know, folks, how to go upside down. Let's fix that. This east wall is just not bumpable and not even. Gotcha. Okay, I'll try that. Right now, I just am trying to turn myself upside down so that I can fix this portal. Oh my god. My everything is reversed. Oh dear. Okay, I don't know how to get unmirrored, so I'm just gonna open this again so that I'm right side up. And then I'm gonna select this portal and turn mirrored off. Okay. If you make a portal reference itself in the same room, same portal name as the destination, it will reflect that it'll do the reverse effect like real mirrors if you do the mirrored option in Shaper. Oh, interesting. Okay, so what we're actually going to want to do is, I think we're just going to want to duplicate this portal then. Actually, we're just going to not have this room 2 portal go into room 3. We're just going to rename this room 2 mirror for now. We're going to have it go to room 2. Now it's going to complain that room 3 west portal room 2 doesn't exist. That's okay. We're going to make the destination portal name room 2 mirror. There we go. And now here is where mirrored comes into play. Mirrored. There we go. Oops, we forgot to make bumpable bumpable. We just need to put a wall behind it. Okay. So let me show that again. I'm going to show that with this malfunctioning. Oops, I accidentally went through the mirror and now I'm upside down. Let me load the world again. So yeah, you're going to want to put if you're going to make a mirror, you're going to want to put a wall behind it so that you don't go through it and end up upside down. I'm going to show the steps again on this portal that leads to ground 0. So this is portal to room 2 portal reception. I didn't put my proper naming conventions in there. Okay, so room 2 mirror west. Actually, let's do room 2 west mirror, just to make it easy. So room 2 west mirror, we're going to make sure it goes to this world. So we're going to clear out this stuff that says ground 0. Destination room name, we're going to change that from reception, which is the name in ground 0, to that room we were looking at, to room 2, which is the room we're in now. We're going to make the destination portal name itself, so it's called room 2 west mirror. We're going to want to change mirrored, so you can see how my avatar's actions in the mirror are reversed right now. We're going to want to change mirrored. Where did you go? I was just looking at you. There it is. We're going to want to change mirrored to true, or just turn mirrored to mirrored, which is true, I guess. And we're going to want to put a wall behind it. Now, instead of having 3 walls over here, I'm just going to make it simple. I'm just going to delete these 2 walls. We're just going to put a west wall in here instead. And drag it into contents. There. Now we have the issue where our room 2 west mirror. Oh, we already had a portal blocker. We didn't need to do that. That's funny. Our room 2 west mirror is behind it, so we're just going to need to move it forward just a tiny bit. That's not forwards. Let's undo that. Maybe we do need 3 walls. Do we need 3 walls? We might need 3 walls. Because it's not showing through this wall. And I can't move it in front. So I think we're actually going to have to... Did we just delete our portal? Yes, we did. We're just going to have to go with the 3 walls method. I will show you how to do that. Actually, that's super cool. Check out how the walls reflect each other like that. That is super duper cool. We're going to have to we're going to just manually create these walls because why not? I'll show you all how to do this. So what you're going to want to do, look at this west wall. Look at where it is. So we got room 2 west mirror right here. Yeah, it's like that one Polymatrix world. Polymatrix does some really cool stuff to take advantage of these things. So we're gonna look at the dimensions here from 2. So it's from 625 to 375. So we can determine that this edge is most likely 375 and that this edge is likely 625. So I want to just drag a west wall into here. Into this grouper object. That's not the grouper object. We can cut and paste it into contents. So it goes from 1000 to 0. We're going to want this to go from 1000 to 625. And then we're going to want another wall that goes from 375 to 0. So we're just going to copy, paste into contents. This is going to be 325. Actually, just kidding. That's going to be 1000. Wait. $675. This is always tricky. We know that this wall right here is 375. And we know that this is 0. So it needs to go from 370 or 325 to 0. Just gonna copy this west wall. Paste it. I'm gonna move this to the we're going to make this 0. And we're going to make this 625. Oops. 625, we needed 325. Ooh. Actually, we needed 375. So as you can see, a lot of this is trial and error, which is why the west wall, the wall with the portals in it exists. It's because of stuff like this that we have a wall with portals in our objects. Because creating the 2 walls on either side to make it match up perfectly with this portal can be a pain in the ass. But now at least you know how to do it more manually. We have a portal blocker in front. And what we can actually do is just make this material... it's currently not visible. So I'm going to change that so that's visible. We're going to change the material. We're going to change the opacity, which is basically how see-through it is. 1 is not at all see-through. 0 is completely see-through. We're going to change this to 0.25. Now it's a very red mirror. You can also put a texture on this mirror. So I'm gonna do home. Yes, that's the outside GZ thing, because you can there's a texture in front of it, like on it, and the texture just kind of shows people hanging out in GZ, sort of. I think it's just to prevent loading times from being really slow from the desert. So, file URL, I don't have a texture on hand. Let me find a texture. Texture. I have no idea what this is. I don't think it liked that image. And I don't have a texture on hand. But this is where you would put the texture if you had one. This right here. It won't let me remove the image either. That's funny. Okay. Anyway. So, just as an overview, we made a new world. We showed how to connect portals from one world to another, how to add portals in default rooms, how to connect those portals together, and then we even did a little bit on mirrors that I had to figure out how to get working. So now you know how to make mirrors too. You know how to make a kind of like a spy GZ sort of thing where you are able to see into GC but not enter it. So we have about 1 more minute if anyone had any extra questions or anything that they wanted to add to our session on portals today. And if not, then we are done. Alright, thank you for coming, everyone. This video will be archived on my YouTube channel. It'll be on the Discord. It'll be on the Making Portals the best way to make a world. Big world. Yes, it's the best way because another extra thing about portals facing each other tank performance. Okay. Yeah. Making portals is the best way to make a big world because if you put too much detail in one room, it'll really make the performance go down. So you're going to want to have things in another room as much as possible because you only render the things in the room that you are currently in. If portals facing each other tank performance, if you're going to use it, make sure to plan resources appropriately. Yes, you can also make it so that a portal has a texture instead, so that you're not immediately loading the world behind the portal as soon as you load into the world. So you can actually just go here and make it so that this is oh, I forgot how to do this. You can add a texture to a portal, and I know that helps with resources quite a bit too. But I don't have a texture on hand. I just dragged one of the textures from there on it as a test. You won't see the texture if the world on the other side is already loaded. So since it's a mirror, you're already in the world, you won't see the texture. I don't remember. But Um, yeah, so that's just the quick things. Just keep an eye on performance. You will see some errors if your performance is seriously tanking. I think that's where the memory hog tiling error comes from. I believe is from portals that are showing too much, and then you're lacking in performance there. I'm not 1,000% sure, but I'm sure Jet would be able to get into it more if you had any questions about that. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching.